your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell at before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, good thing to say, I doubt it didn't stand up to something. I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean.
Oh, welcome to a wonderful, whimsical afternoon edition of the Chrissie Mayr Podcast. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin, YouTube when they'll have me, Twitter, Facebook. We're all over the internet. And guess what? I'm going to be all over New Jersey next month. I'm going to be performing at Tiff's Ale House in... Where's my website? It's always the last place you look. Here it is. Tiff's Ale House on Saturday, July 8th. Yeah, baby. I'll be headlining. Keanu Thompson will be there. It's going to be fun. Then I'll be in Richmond, Virginia, headlining the Sandman Comedy Club Wednesday, August 9th. Then we got Anime Matsuri coming up. I've never been to this convention before. I'm so excited to go. I've also never been to Houston before. I think I see another pair of cowboy boots in my future. I don't know for sure, but that usually is what happens. That's going to be August 10th through the 13th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Simpcast will be at this convention. We'll have a panel. We'll have a booth. I'm 90% sure Lila Hart will be there, but she's going to confirm with me because she will be on the program shortly. Then, yes, of course, because she'll be at the Houston show. I'm pretty sure. Unless I'm wrong. And if that's the case, then I look silly. I'll be headlining in Houston at the Secret Group Friday, August 11th. Nice and early show, 7 o'clock. Get your tickets if you know you're going to be at the convention. That way you have plans. You have things to do. You can wear your cosplay there. It's a no judgment zone. Minimal judgment. Some judgment. But it'll be fun. What's up, Torgo the White? Very late and very Target. Yes. Target. Poor Target. Target is reeling right now. Okay. Well, there's so much to discuss. And my gosh, this is going to be more just like the internet witnessing a catch up between two besties. You know her. You love her. She's a comedian and a documentary filmmaker. She made the American History of Voter Fraud, and I think there's another one coming out soon about Fauci. So excited for that. Welcome to the show. A regular. You know her from Simpcast, Lila Hart.
Hello.
Hello. Frank and I were arguing this morning on whether or not I have allergies because I had a couple days ago, like a sore throat, like it hurts when I swallow. Now less so, but a couple days ago. And then I woke up one morning and like coughed up something insane. Like, I don't know. This doesn't happen often. It's like one of those things where you're like, wow, either I smoke too many cigars, which is not that many, or I have lung cancer. Like, you ever, and I don't know, maybe this is not the way to start the show, but like, you ever wake up in the morning and you just cough up something, you're like, wow, like concerning? That's what happened to me. And, but it's like grandma always says, better out than in. And now I just have a runny nose and I'm just blowing my nose and I feel congested, but I just don't think that this is allergies.
Well, if it's allergy, you could just take like an Allegra or something.
The problem is I don't want to identify as a person with allergies because I see it as a weakness. So I just would rather it be a cold than, something to add to my bio.
Yeah.
Person with allergies. Ugh, I don't
And
like it.
also, but it could be like if it is allergies, it's like a seasonal change, and that's usually when allergies occur. So Frank might be right on this one.
Ugh, I'm so annoyed. I've got my whole adult life without having allergies. Well, I have a shrimp allergy, but there's not shrimp, flying at you when you go outside.
Remember when we ate calamari and you ate it like a bunch of it, and then you were like, "Wait, is this shrimp?"
Ah! And I think wait, where were
We were
we?
in Vegas at that hotel getting a tour.
Right, they gave us like a tempura platter, and I think I was like biting into something and it was shrimp. And I was like, "What?" But I have a fun shrimp allergy. Like I don't carry an EpiPen. I don't alert the waiter when I'm ordering. Like I just go with the flow. Like if shrimp happens upon my plate, I just give it to somebody else. I'm not trying to get the whole table involved with my allergy.
That's nice.
So I just don't like that. I don't like when somebody gets the whole kids is one thing, but like I think by the time you're an adult, you should know generally like what you can and can't eat. And I just don't think that should be everybody's problem. But I don't know. I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I just think it's fun. It's also fun to be like in the middle of eating something that you're allergic to, and then just sort of gingerly cough it up into a napkin, and then just go along with the conversation.
Yeah, I think that was the first time I found out that you had a shrimp allergy when I thought you had eaten a whole plate of shrimp, and I was like, "Oh, this is bad. Oh, what are we gonna do?"
I immediately like because my throat doesn't close up with shrimp. My lips just blow up to 3 times their size, and it looks like the last time this happened to me, it was 2006 or 7. And I had just started a new job. I was working at like a company that represents news talent. So like they represented Carmen Brown. What the hell was her name? She was a CNN reporter. They represented Lori Doone or Lori Dew. I'll never forget this Lori Dew reporter. She came in and I've always been the assistant like at every job I've ever had. She's like, "Do you have any flavored seltzer?" I was like, "Lady." I was like, "I'm drinking old water out of an old water bottle. It's been sitting on my desk for a month. Like, do you think we have even regular seltzer?" Anyway, what was the point? Oh, so that happened to me. The allergy thing happened. My lips blew up major. They blew up like crazy. They're huge and they were very itchy, and they stayed that way like at least a week or two. And it didn't occur to me to take Benadryl or do anything. I just would put concealer like over my lips. Like I thought that was gonna hide it, and it looked fucking crazy.
Oh
My
my
boss was like, "Oh, I thought you had bad Botox." And this
Oh
is like
my
a
God.
long time ago. Well, not that. Yeah, it's kind of a long
Like
time
lip
ago.
injections.
Yeah. And I had just started this job, so I couldn't call out sick. It was so embarrassing. I'm trying to like have a conversation, and I had these big, crazy shrimp lips. And then people are like, "Oh, that sounds like it would be attractive. Everybody likes big lips." I'm like, "No, what I had was not attractive." Itching them all day.
That's funny.
And it was annoying because I loved shrimp. I ate it so much. I ate it all the time. I would eat buckets of it.
Oh, I love shrimp too. And crawfish. Have you had crawfish? Are you allergic to crawfish?
Yeah, they're cousins.
Oh, goodness.
They're basically, and I've had so many shrimp close calls, like in Queens. There's bodegas everywhere where I was living in Astoria, and I was eating these rice crackers. They have these Asian grocery stores all over. And so I'm like eating these rice crackers. I'm like, these are great. And I'm like, these smell like a little something. And I look on the back, and the fucking prawns is an ingredient in these rice crackers. I'm eating these fucking shrimp crackers, just eating away, just in my bed.
You can't have shrimp chips. I love shrimp chips.
They were so good. And I was like, well, and then I have to quickly think, like, what do I have to do tonight? Do I have a show? Do I have something important? Like, can my face blow up today? Can I fit it into the schedule? but it hasn't happened in so long. And I've always either spit the thing out or a couple of times I think I tried to make myself throw the thing up, but I haven't had a full blown lip out situation. So I wonder if the allergy has gone away, which in that case, I have to set aside a day to like eat shrimp and see what happens because I want to see if it's still there.
Yeah, that would be interesting. You should film it when you do it.
But I'm gonna have shrimp
Do it live.
night. I'm gonna make sure I don't have any gigs, and then I'm just gonna have shrimp night. Yeah, maybe I'll make it a thing. I meet up, be like, "Do you have an old allergy? Are you wondering if you still have it? Like, come bring that thing, and we'll all eat it together, and we'll either be fine or someone will end up in the hospital."
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
But
I don't
anyway.
think I have any allergies. You know what's weird? I'm supposed to have a latex allergy because most people would spina bifida have a
That's
latex.
hot. That's hot. The boys love that.
But I don't think I do. I don't have an allergy. I don't think I have allergies.
Usually it's single horny men who seem to all have the latex allergy, from my experience.
That's funny.
Oh my God, Frank's gonna have shrimp while going down on me. I think one time, I don't know if I had ice in my mouth or maybe I had seltzer in my mouth and I tried to go down on Frank. He's like, what the fuck? Like it burned or something. And I thought I was being cute. It might have been seltzer. I might have had seltzer in my mouth. Like I thought the bubbles would like bubble up his dick. It didn't.
Maybe do it with Pop Rocks.
You'll feel gentle explosions. That's fun because you always try to mix it up. You gotta
spice it up.
You gotta keep it spicy. We went to a strip club last Saturday for the first time in years, and so it's been so long that I forgot the strip club etiquette. I didn't know how much money to throw at my friend on stage. A woman came over. I gave her $20, and I was like, I kind of wanted her to go away, but then she stayed, like the mariachi band. So
that's so. Chrissy, I don't know if you know this, but I was a cocktail waitress at a strip club for 3 days.
3 days
when I was 18. Yeah, I think it was like I came back for like a semester. Well, when I was in college, I came back for winter break, and all my friends were working there. They're like, "Just come. You could be a cocktail waitress." And you can't. They didn't even serve alcohol. It was like I was selling Coca-Cola,
cocaine.
Yeah, and you would like I made friends with the strippers, and then you would like try to get the guys to go to like your stripper friends, and then at the end of the night, like the strippers would like tip me.
You were a pimp.
Yeah,
you were like a mini Ghislaine.
Yeah.
Did you feel it was a slippery slope into stripping? Like you would have an easy.
You want to know what's well? I know because it's like I have spina bifida, so at that time in my life, I was like really insecure about my body. You know what I mean? But I remember we had to wear these like cute little corsets, and I had like a little skirt. I worked there for 3 days. Yeah.
Now you'd have to pay the big bucks to see you strip because you're a married woman.
I'm a married woman.
I didn't put on my ring today. I am having I'll put it on later before I go out into the world. Do you wear yours to sleep?
No, I don't wear it to sleep. I wear it when I'm on shows. I wear it on stage, but like I just wear it like when I get my nails done.
Yeah.
So, but like if I'm just like going to the grocery store and I'm like not really dressed up or anything, I'm like, well, I want to keep it safe, you know?
I know, because I bought in Vegas, I bought a dummy ring. I bought like a fake engagement ring because I'm like, well, I don't want to lose the action. I made the joke on stage, like I don't want to lose the ring inside a man's asshole. That's obviously a joke, but I didn't want to I didn't even wear the real one to the strip club the other night because I'm thinking of a nightmare scenario where I have a Cardi B situation where I get drugged and then somebody pulls my ring off, or somebody does like a sleight of hand and tries to pull a quarter out of my ear, but then I look down and my ring is gone.
Yeah, I'm pretty selective about when I wear it too. But it's like for like this, I'm like, I'm gonna be on Chrissy's shows once a day.
Now I feel so empty and single. I feel like I have loser hands. Look at my loser hands.
Oh, this is funny. I was out the other night and I was at the comedy club and people were like, "Where's your husband?" I'm like, "He's right here."
Like, I keep him in this locket, and then you open it, it's like, ah. Oh my gosh, Lila, so much has happened. I feel like I miss you so much because we did that trip together,
No, it's so fun.
and now it's like I have FOMO, friend FOMO.
But you have Bucky there to remind you.
I do. Oh my god, I pull him into like every stream now.
Aw, Bucky.
I love Bucky, and this would be perfect in case I want to put a camera in his eye. Bucky sees everything.
And it says, "Don't mess with Texas." That's right.
He's so cute. I love his little shirt. I could put this shirt on maybe Waffles. No, Waffles is too big. Tell me about, you just had a show with Alex Stein in Austin at the Vulcan
Gas Company. It was great. I hosted the show for Alex. We had JVT was there, which is Alex's producer, Tim Warner, and which very funny guy, and another guy.
He's a comic?
Yeah, he's a comic. And Ty Rivera. He popped in and a guest spot. And oh my gosh, Chrissy, it was like the highlight of my night. It was amazing.
Isn't he Vegas based?
No, he actually moved to Austin.
Oh, wow. I had him on like one of my early podcast episodes, but he's just so funny and delightful. And I appreciate because he's gay, but like kind of based.
Oh my gosh, he crushed it. It was incredible. And then I brought him up as his thing is he's the world's best LGBT community. It's the best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
I love that.
He says on his podcast, Unbothered. But it was amazing, and the crowd just loved him. And it was so cool of Alex to, give him a guest spot, because I got into town and I texted Ty because I knew he lived in Austin, and I was like, "Hey Ty, we're at the Vulcan tonight. Come through. I wanted to introduce him to Alex." And he got there while I was already on stage, and him and Alex met. And Alex actually watches or had like seen like his show Unbothered, because he had a clip where he talked about I think like Leah Thomas and different LGBTQ stuff, and it's gone pretty big on YouTube.
Oh wow.
So they like met in the hall or like in the green room, and then Ty came downstairs. He's like, "I'm gonna do a guest spot." I was like, "Oh my god, this is so great!"
Yay.
That was fun. And then Owen Schroyer was there, and Rob from InfoWars, and then Alex actually brought Owen on stage. It was really
I wish I could have seen this, because just from my interactions with Owen and doing shows with him, Owen, I think he has a great sense of humor. I think he's very curious about the idea of doing stand-up. I think he's fascinated by stand-up comedy and comedians. And like you notice this too. There's different types of people who tend to like really like and be fascinated by comedians. There's some that are just chuckle fuckers, mostly just like women who are fans and like are just banging someone to either like they're open micers or they're just fans and they just want to fuck as many comedians as possible. Then there's like a guy who just wants to, I experienced this when I was single. They want to date you, and then it comes out on the first date that like, how do they get into comedy? Which I will terminate the date immediately upon hearing that. I'll be like, check please. That's intolerable. Like, you cannot take someone out on a date just to find out how to get into comedy. I remember I had a pen pal in jail a couple of years ago. A random guy reached out to me, and it was like, I got this email like, will you accept a message from, I forget the name of the company, but it was like Jail Corps or something like that, CORPS or something. And it was like a jail server. And I was like, okay, accept. And it was this guy, Jermaine, and he got locked up for like car stuff, like stole a car or whatever. And we had a couple of like back and forths. And then I remember still seeing my therapist at the time, and she was like, you probably shouldn't like have a back and forth with somebody in jail, because a lot of times, like when they get out, the first person the jailbird will kill will be the pen pal, and sometimes the pen pal's boyfriend.
Wow.
And that gave me pause, because I didn't want that. But then he asked me about comedy, and I was like, that's it. I'm fucking done. Like, I know you're in jail, but like, where do you get off asking me? That was so annoying to me. And I was like, okay, I'm done talking to you, Jermaine. Goodbye. If you're listening to this, Jermaine, I hope you understand, and I hope that you don't try to kill me. And then there is those are the intolerable types. Then there's people who are just sort of like, they have it in them to be, they're very funny and they could possibly be good like I think Marshall, our friend Marshall Beaupre, is one of these other types where he's so funny. He has an entertaining, like he has the comedy bug, like he appreciates it. He's a little bit of a comedy nerd, respects it, but he is entertaining himself and almost like a little bit of a peacocky element to his personality, but like not sure how and where to direct it. Because a lot of these people, like, yeah, you have a regular job, but not everybody can just drop everything and pursue comedy. And Owen strikes me somebody who I think could be funny or maybe wants to be funny, but like doesn't know how to direct it. He's somebody I think if he were thrown onto like, if he did a show on like Compound Media or did like Compound Media type podcasts, he would learn that rhythm, that like quick podcast rhythm and that wit and that quickness that you need to have to sort of like keep up and banter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very curious how he did, because he is funny, but I think he just doesn't know like how to apply it.
Yeah, it was. So what happened was Alex was on stage with this other comedian, but I think he does like voice acting, and it was a guy who was imitating Klaus Schwab, and so he earlier that before the show started, Alex told me Owen was going to come, and I was like, "Oh, Alex!" I was like, "That's awesome!" I was, Owen wants to do stand up. I just like casually said that to Alex, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to bring him on stage then." And so
he told you he wanted to do stand up, or you just said it.
Owen Schroyer, like the first time I met him at in Austin, it was also the first time I met Matt Baker. We were all in like the tent.
Matt Baker was my heckler, by the way, in San Diego. This was the most insane thing, and we've talked about this, and there's been clips, but he was like sitting right in the front row. He was like VIP. We like, gave him like, hey, come to the show. Of course, we want to meet you, because you had worked with him. But then he ended up like inadvertently like heckling the shit out of my set, and like was drunk, and he was like, ha ha. He was like doing all these weird laughs
right in the front too. And also it was that stage where there was no stage. It was like, remember, there wasn't it wasn't.
That was horrible. We're just standing on the ground, which is horrible for you because you're just at eye level with the people sitting down.
Yes.
What the fuck? I was so annoyed by that.
But so anyways, the first day that I hung out with them, they were asking about stand-up, and that's when Owen like, kind of said like, oh, I would love to do stand-up. And I think that comedy is it's like the most difficult form of public speaking. So if you're somebody that likes to be on stage, or like, you have that charisma and that presence already, like who wouldn't want to make people laugh? Like it's so cool and powerful. Anyways, I thought it was awesome that Alex was like, I'll just bring him on stage. He didn't even tell Owen he was going to do this, by the way. So
I'm sure he hated that.
So Alex is doing kind of this act out with Klaus Schwab, and am I saying his last name right?
Schwab. Yeah.
And
you say Klaus Schwab. That's funny.
Yeah, Schwab. And then he's like, Owen Schroyer's in there. Owen, get up here, Owen. And then he like gives Owen a microphone. And the three of them are on stage kind of doing this like back and forth talk. So it wasn't necessarily like stand up where you're alone completely, but it was more of like them on stage asking
like
questions.
Training wheels.
Yeah, it was training wheels. That's perfect. And then I went up to Owen afterwards, and he said that he's like, oh, that was really fun. And he was like, I think that could be really good if we like actually had something planned. And it's like, yeah, but also kudos to him for being brave enough to just get up there and try it, and so that was
well, he would have looked like a pussy if he was like pimped into being on stage. That's the do or die moment right there. If you can be pimped into going on stage, then it's like, that's a step, you know what I mean? Because if he was like, no, then that's a person who's never going to do stand up.
Yeah.
But if you can go up there and be like, you know what? Let's see what happens. I could make a total fool of myself, or something fun might happen. So that's a really good sign.
Yeah. And I also think like, there's different types of humor. It's like, it's one thing where you can be like funny in front of your group of friends, but stand up is really this art form, because when you're up there, we just make it look like this is the first time that we're saying things. You know, and like, Chrissie, you are so good at freaking crowd work. Like, you're so quick with it when you like talk to people. Like, I've been hosting several shows like the last couple weeks since we got back from being on tour, and I've been trying to talk to people and like try to like ask them questions so that I can kind of like incorporate my jokes into it. But it's been so cool to like be on tour with you and really like get to watch you do that so much, because that is such a skill to like talk to them and then come up with something quick and then go back into your set, where it's like, for me, like I just have my set. So I'm like trying to work on being a little bit more brave and kind of talking to people.
That's so great. And if you can do that and not completely lose track of your set and your order, then that's great. But if you do it and you're like, and it throws you off. But I think if you can just boil it down to like the baseline topics of like what people do for work, their relationship status, maybe obvious like ethnicity that you can look at and you can make like, and it's always fun to like, it just depends. Like if people are talking and are contributing, I almost said it the way Venti says it, contributing. If people are contributing, that's great. But sometimes people are stiff. And when people are stiff and not giving you anything, and you want crowd work and you want to, like, the more a crowd is weaved into the show, the more invested they'll be, the more interested they'll be, the more like the less likely they'll be to check out. And like, of course, like, I don't know. I'm not saying anything you don't know, Lila. I think I'm just more for the people listening. But if people are giving you nothing, then I think it's fair to like start making declarations in the crowd. This guy with the pink shirt, you're gay. Great. Now we got the gay guy for the rest of the night. Like anytime there's a gay joke or a gay moment, we can reference this guy. And people are not genuinely offended by this. It's people, I think, especially if they're sitting in the front 2 rows, you have a sense something might happen. Like you might be called into something. If you really don't want to be talked to, like you're probably going to be sitting in the back. It's very rare that someone is sitting in the front of a comedy show, like completely against their will. I've never heard of anyone, being forced to sit way up in the front. And a lot of times, like if someone doesn't want you to talk to them, they'll be like, oh, they'll point to their friend, because you'll see that a lot. Like, oh, they've been married 10 years. And it's kind of like, talk to them. And then I go, bitch, like you started this. Now I'm talking to you because you're pointing at your friends, which means you don't want me to talk to you, which means I'm going to talk to you. But like and I learned that from watching, I was really inspired by Aaron Berg's crowd work. He was a comedian who was at Compound Media for many years, and a little bit from like Big J Okerson, a little bit from this guy Larry Bea, who used to kind of host some of the Compound Media shows. But he's like, I think we saw him in Texas. No, not Texas. When we were at the Comedy Store that one night.
Oh yeah,
that black guy.
Yeah.
He's fun. So I always like observing someone who gets a strong reaction from the crowd during their hosting set. You know who I've been watching a lot of lately? And I think it was somebody in LA who told me to look out for him. And because they mentioned him, because they're like, oh, he's really cute. He's really popular with the ladies. I think his name is Matt Rife.
Yeah,
Rife. And he does incredible. He's somebody I would love to interview. He does incredible crowd work, and he has so much fun. And I've been inspired by him lately, just because he like doesn't give a fuck, and he's very quick.
Yeah, his crowd work is on point. Have you seen the one where he's the lady brought him like cookies?
Oh, cookies, and then shirts, and then he does a great job of like charming the crowd, but then also like, making fun of them at the same time. He doesn't treat them with kid gloves. He's not like avoiding certain groups of people. He makes declarations. He makes like racist jokes, but then he's like, come on, he's so good. I'm really inspired by that kid. Which brings me to this article, which I saw just before we went live, even though it's published a week ago. Are leftists simply too delicate for comedy? So Frank sent this to me, and I thought, oh, this will be good to talk about, not realizing I am the subject of this article. And I was like, all right, how is this going to go? I've never heard of the Trill Mag. I don't know if this is left or right or what the bent is. I said, let's read. Okay, there's a picture of somebody with a mask that says transphobia is not a joke. So I'm like, who knows? With jokes about transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, an NYC comedian, sparked a debate about whether leftists are compatible with comedy. Now, remember this as I read this article, because this person's beef is with whether or not leftists are compatible with comedy, which was something they pulled out of like a Fox article. Earlier in May, stand-up comedian Chrissie Mayr upset her audience members after making jokes about Dylan Mulvaney. As a transgender person, Mulvaney has been the subject of much ridicule. Most recently, Bud Light drinkers spewed hate. First of all, is anyone a Bud Light drinker? No one's a Bud Light drinker. I think you drink Bud Light because it's there and it's cold and it's cheap. But anyway, the Bud Light drinkers spewed hate after Mulvaney posted a video holding a can of beer with her face on it on May 7th. By the way, it was May 6th. Okay, let's fact check you right there. What's your name? Nick Harper. Okay,
and you only upset like 4 people.
It was May 6th. Yeah, it was May 6th. It was 4 land whales. Okay, they took up the space of 8 people, but there was only 4 of them. On May 7th, listeners interrupted. Listeners, first of all, you're calling them listeners. This is how I know this person doesn't go to comedy, doesn't like comedy, doesn't appreciate comedy. You're calling them listeners. Yes. Interrupted Mayr's performance at the Hyenas Comedy Club in defense of Mulvaney. Mayr later posted the clip on Twitter, and it has since gone viral. Thank you very much. In the clip, Mayr misgenders Mulvaney and bashes her for not having gender-affirming surgery. Why has it been a year of girlhood and still no tits? That's day 1, okay, Mayr said, referencing Mulvaney's series 365 Days of Girlhood. She then poses the question, why no tits for Dylan? To which an audience member responds, because he's a man. Mayr repeats the audience member's comment in agreement. A, quote, delicate audience member then yells, no, she's a woman. Following that outburst, Mayr defends her joke by saying, uh-oh, we have one of those. How is that me defending the joke? That's me just acknowledging what's happening in the room. Uh-oh, we have one of those. It's all good. We can have different beliefs, okay? This is what I hate about it. She cuts out the funny part of the bit. I said, some of us can believe in reality and some of us can't, which was the fucking joke. But she just does an ellipse. Is this what this is called, an ellipse, when it's 3 dots?
Yeah.
A group of women is then women. She should put a women in quotes. A group of women is then seen leaving the venue, one of them shouting, F you, transphobe. Mayr claps back with, is that the best you can do? She then proceeds to make jokes about the weight of the women who left, telling them to look out for poachers who are, quote, going to want their tusks. She later revealed that the group of women knocked over her merchandise table on their way out. And then
she's misgendering them. How does she know that they're women? Are they identifying?
Exactly. How does she know what they identify as? And like they said to the management, they said someone in their group was marginalized. So who knows what that means? Mayr's defense. During a subsequent interview with Fox News, Mayr defended her offensive comedy by declaring that true equality is being able to joke about everybody. She stated that no group should be safe from being made fun of and slammed the transgender community for acting like the protected class du jour. Further, Mayr expressed her belief that comedy clubs should be a place where controversial opinions and uncomfortable truths can be said. In light of this, she commented, you should be laughing at things at a comedy club that might get you in trouble at work. You should be making side comments to your buddies at a comedy club that could get you in trouble at work. It's one of the last few places of freedom where you can be yourself and let loose. Like, let's not pretend that people are not doing these things, that people don't laugh at things that are inappropriate, that people don't make inappropriate comments. Like, let's not pretend. And even the woke leftists are doing this. They're making snide comments about straight white men.
Yeah.
The only joke a comedian should stop doing is one that doesn't get a laugh. Just because society pretends to be more woke and evolved doesn't mean people don't still laugh at the same things we did 20, 30, 40 years ago. Mayr went on to bash leftists for wanting certain groups exempted from ridicule. Exempt from ridicule? Beyond Mayr, comedians like Dave Chappelle and Ricky Gervais have been called out for making jokes deemed offensive. And they too complain that comedy is too politically correct because audiences are too sensitive. They claim they are being silenced when consumers point out and condemn certain jokes. I don't think I've ever said I'm being silenced, but I guess they can say whatever they want. However, this is not the case. By saying these offensive jokes to such a large and public audience, the comedians normalize bigotry. Chrissie Mayr argues that there's no such thing as punching down, but in comedy, the distinction between punching up or down is an important one. This is the paragraph where I really start to have an issue. Okay. Comedians punch up when they make fun of groups or people that hold more social power than them. Oppositely, they punch down when joking about marginalized people, those with little power. Okay, first of all, this is their wording and their logic. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't, first of all, a true comedian, I don't think really, some leftist comedians do believe in this punching up, punching down bullshit. But I mean, if we're being real, I would say that the trans community has more social power than me, a straight, white, soon to be married Christian person. I would say that the trans people are up here and straight folks that are white are much down here. So if anything, I am punching up, because in 2023, you can't be critical of trans people. You can't criticize them. That's the overall dialogue, is that you can't joke about them. You have to be like, shh, oh my God, it's a trans person. Oh my God, be careful,
Yeah.
If I were going to subscribe to this punching up, punching down bullshit, so trans people technically would be punching up, which in their opinion is what you should do, is punch up. You punch up at the people that are in power, which are the trans ideologues and the activists. But I don't believe in that bullshit. I believe everyone is equal. Everyone has equal potential to make something with their life. I think your attitude is so important, and you can make yourself miserable, or you can make yourself happy. And I mean, so this is like where I have a problem. I don't believe that making fun of a trans person is punching down. Like that, this person, I feel like, is showing their bigotry, because it seems like they believe trans people are lower than she is.
Yes.
She seems like a straight, I mean, okay, it should surprise nobody that the author of this article is a land whale. Nick Harper. Hi, I'm Nick. She, they, which means you're probably just straight, and you're trying to, well, the they part is what makes her very interesting and cool. I am a second year English lit major. So this is a sophomore in college. This is a 19-year-old person telling me, someone who's been doing comedy for 13 years, what I should be doing.
Wow.
In my job that I am professional and finally full-time at doing. This is a 19-year-old cat-owning, pronoun-using land whale at the University of San Francisco. She enjoys writing about queer topics, social issues, and fashion. It's so funny. I don't see comedy on the list of things that you're equipped to write about, Nick.
Yeah.
Yet here you are telling me how to do my job. Interesting. Let's go back. So this punching up, punching down thing is bullshit. This is what leftists do to justify treating certain groups as a protected class, and it's a bullying tactic, I think. I mean, if I were trans, I would want to be treated just like everybody else. If I were going to go to a comedy club, I wouldn't want to be ignored. I wouldn't want that. If I'm sitting in the front, well, I'm like, the comedian's making fun of everybody, but then ignores me. I don't know. What's that about? So punching up allows comedians to challenge the status quo and hold those in power accountable. Who the fuck is going to hold anybody in power account? Are you kidding me? Do you think Klaus Schwab is going to go to Hyenas in Dallas and be sitting front row waiting for me to stick it to him? Do you think Bill Gates is gonna be in the crowd at Flap Flaps in Canada and be like, oh man, they really stuck it to me? Do you think Jeff Bezos or fucking Joe Biden, are any of these people going to comedy? No, it's like the elites are the elites. they're kind of untouchable to most of us normies. We're just trying to make our fellow man, our fellow plebe laugh. It's this lofty leftist language, like we can actually, I don't know. Like, I'm not so arrogant that I think I can change, I can hold power accountable. Like, let's be real here. Punching down only reinforces stereotypes and furthers prejudice against marginalized groups. First of all, like, a comedy show is not going to make or break somebody's stereotypes. It's not going to, you're not going to walk into a comedy show 0% racist and then walk out 50% racist. That's not how that works.
Yeah. No, this is insane. And this person has clearly never been to a comedy club or been around real people. Is that's another thing too, is like, they're on the internet. They don't understand, like, you can write all this stuff on the internet, but this is not how a conversation would go down in real life.
A 19-year-old is telling me, someone who looks 25 but is much older than 25, how to do my job that I get paid to do. I'm, I have hot takes. I'm not in every major club, but it's like, I'm doing okay. I'm paying my bills. And who knows if this fucking clown is even paying her own rent at this point. Like, you're not an adult yet. You're not in a position to tell other adults what to do. But leftism. Okay, and then they have this tweet here from Omni Vag Allure. I work with preteens. We had an entire conversation about, quote, comedy yesterday. Anytime someone puts comedy in quotes, I just, you can completely disregard what's about to follow. Being able to identify whether a joke is punching up or punching down is crucial, in all caps. And intent doesn't matter when you aren't from the minority group whose experiences you're talking about. First of all, this is not a person who's fun. This is not a person who's going to go to a comedy club. This is not a person who is, But
another part of it too, Chrissy, is like, it's like, when you aren't from the minority group, well, when the Little Women LA ladies were upset with me for saying midget, I was part of the minority group and I'm still not allowed to say it. So it's like, when does it stop?
Wow.
So when somebody like Ty Rivera goes on stage and makes fun of the LGBTQ community, is he not allowed to say it even though he's part of the community? Because I just feel like everybody, stand-up is supposed to be, we are supposed to be making fun of those things. And especially, like, it's even funnier when you are part of the community. You should be allowed to do it even more so. So to sit here and say that, oh, comedy, it's like they're trying to dictate what people can say.
Right. They're always moving the goalposts. That the example of Ty Rivera is perfect because he is a gay man who makes fun of the gay community. And I think the reason why, like, that joke that I told about Dylan that night, and it was really more of a riff, but the reason why it resonated with the audience, because it wasn't just me like pounding on Dylan. I was thinking, like, what it would be like if I was trans, if I really wanted to be a dude. What would I want? Well, I would want a big fat cock. That's what I would want, because that's what masculinity is to me. That's would be like, that's the trophy. I would be like, I'm going to probably start lifting a lot of heavy weights because I got to make up for the fact that I'm 5'3". Okay. So which means I need a big cock and I need big muscles. I'm just thinking what I would do. So really it's a joke about me, how I would be trans. So you're telling me how I can be trans? That doesn't sound very inclusive.
Exactly.
But like, first of all, what's the point of, you're talking to preteens about comedy? Why? What 12, 13-year-old? They're not in comedy clubs. They haven't lived enough life to have a broad, like, sense of humor comes when you're an adult. You've had jobs, you've lived, you've done things. Like, there are occasionally kids who are funny. Like, Frank's kid is freaking hilarious and very smart and wise beyond his years because he's been around the two of us. And of course, Pauly Shore, grew up in a comedy club. But it shouldn't be something you should be speaking to a group of preteens about. That's like speaking to a group of preteens about car maintenance. It's just not relevant to their life, really.
Yeah.
But this is probably a conversation like, oh, you're not supposed to bully. You're not supposed to make comments about your your classmates' appearance. But that's not comedy. I would consider that to be just like bullshitting with your friends.
Yeah, it's like they're at the point where they're policing comedy, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. And like you said, these people have never even been to a comedy club, never been to a show.
You cannot compare what happens at a live comedy club, at a live show, to Twitter, and that's where these moron internet like journalists or whatever you want to call them, that's where they go wrong, because they're not the same. Just because you don't like somebody's tweets, that's not, I wouldn't even consider that quote comedy. I don't know. When comedians make misogynistic or transphobic jokes, they normalize such behavior and thinking. I don't agree with this. I don't think I'm normalizing anything. I think this is, when you say normalizing, is a very leftist word. It's very controlling. I don't think that I'm so powerful, important that I can control people or normalize anything.
Yeah. Wow.
For example, jokes referring to trans women as men, such as in Mayr's routine, invalidate transgender identities through humor. Okay, if you're so fragile that a joke can invalidate your identity, then guess what? You are not compatible with comedy. You shouldn't be at a comedy show, which was my whole point. If you're so weak that you can't withstand someone's comedy set, then you shouldn't be at a club. Then you should stay home. You should be in therapy. You should work on your insecurities.
And biology invalidates their identity. So I don't.
Yeah, reality invalidates your identity. And these people can't come to grips with reality. And that's what a stand-up comedy club is. It's everyone coming together on what is reality and what's not. Because you know what? When it's not reality and it's not true, or it's not clicking, then people don't laugh. But if it's clear and it's true and it's funny, then people are going to laugh.
This next sentence pisses me off. Go ahead. Read it.
On the other hand, transgender comedians like Robin Tran. Have you heard of Robin Tran?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't. Making jokes about their own experiences can make people laugh without tokenizing themselves.
That's BS.
Robin Tran. Who is Robin Tran? Let me see if I can pull them up.
Yeah.
See, Robin Tran on Instagram. So this is the model. This is who we should be like.
Yes. Pull it up. This is a trans person that is a comedian model.
I have their Instagram. I'm going to stop this for a second and pull up who our idol is. This is who we should all be like, is Robin Tran here. Okay, go back. Oh, she has a Netflix special, which means she's in lockstep with the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. Okay, let's see. Is this a link? Is this a video?
Of a protest at the writers'
shit!
Critiquing the writing abilities of everyone's big side.
This is what you like.
This is writing quality. I'm like, you write for Fallon, don't you?
Ew! Hold on. This is a person who's balding but still has long hair. This is who we should be like. Okay, I didn't really hear a joke there. But maybe just a little bit of a riff. Okay. Robin Tran looks like a very niche comedian. This is like you're a trans comedian, so this is how everyone should be. Okay, they were on the roast of Whitney Cummings. That's good. You know, maybe they are funny.
Louis is Puerto Rican. Whitney, when you said this roast would have terrible PR, I didn't know that this is what you meant.
Funny, and that joke had nothing to do with him being trans.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it very hard to believe that Robin Tran has no jokes, no self-deprecating jokes. But anyway, that's who we should be more like, Lila. Okay, making jokes about that.
That's a real woman.
That's a real woman. We all need to be. My voice isn't deep enough to be like that real woman. There's this last paragraph is great. There is no right way to do comedy. Then why are you writing this fucking article?
Are you freaking okay? Wow.
Why are we here? There's no right way to do comedy, but there can and should be a distinction between lighthearted jokes and offensive humor. Why does anyone need that distinction to be made for them? People can tell. I mean, and that's also completely subjective. What is lighthearted for someone might be offensive to somebody else. So why does that need to be someone's job to make that distinction? That's like saying, oh, we need to decide what tastes people should have. We need to pick and choose what people can laugh at, what's okay to laugh at. Again, this is all very controlling. Comedians, like, people are not retarded. They laugh at what they find funny. They don't need you to tell, like, they don't need a 19-year-old English lit major with cats in San Francisco to tell them what's okay to laugh at. Comedians should not rely on outdated stereotypes to get a laugh. Are you fucking kidding me? If we didn't rely on stereotypes, there'd be zero jokes. I think I would say there'd be 50% less jokes. Even at this point, there's a stereotype of a straight white male. That's a stereotype now. I would consider that to be an outdated stereotype.
Yeah, I just think that it's just so insane to me that there's no right way to do comedy except my way and how it should be. And offensive humor. And it's like, I feel like offensive humor is actually funnier because you're actually trying to push the line and like see what happens. And here's another thing that's so different about stand-up now is like, if I go to an open mic, right, and I'm trying out new material, someone could videotape me, post it on the internet, and then before the bit's even like fully worked out, you know, it's like we're not even allowed to try things. And
you can't have that messy creative process because somebody could put out your first draft and then you get whatever. At this point, you and I are kind of uncancelable because we've leaned into it. But like somebody younger starting out, you get canceled for a first draft of a joke, and then you're like, oh shit. But then again, you wouldn't be doing comedy because that's now part of the deal. So if that's going to dissuade you from pursuing stand-up, then you're not cut out for it.
And I'm sorry, if you're a weak person, like you can't do stand-up. Stand-up comedy is not for the weak. It's not. And so you can try to like use all this like fluff and, you know, oh, you have to be like, you can try to push these woke comedians, but I'm sorry, it's just like, it doesn't work. And in real life, people can see through that. And it's not what's going to make people laugh. It's just not. It's not the same. The internet is not the same as real life.
Right. And these people don't seem to be out in real life because you're a 19-year-old cat owner in college. You haven't been out. I already know you haven't been out in the real world. This is so perfect. Because would the author of this article go up to a black comedian and call them out for using white people be like stereotypes, which is, I would consider, a very outdated stereotype. But guess what? I would never, ever tell someone not to do jokes like that because lots of people love those jokes.
Yeah, and you see that happen all the time. Oh, there's white people in the audience, and that's okay to make fun of. You know, it's just, it's very interesting how we're not allowed to make fun of certain things. But I am like, when I was on that show, Little Women, and they like got mad at me for saying the M word midget, it actually made me want to do it more. It like didn't make me want to not do it. I was like, and I'm glad I didn't apologize because I feel like it kind of like was a taste of what was to come.
Reading this article makes me want to go harder. That is the end result of this, is like, man, I could be going so much harder.
And you should.
Comedians should not rely on outdated stereotypes to get a laugh. They should instead challenge and criticize those stereotypes. What would that look like? Does that sound funny to you? Challenging and criticizing a stereotype?
But that doesn't even make any sense because I feel like that is what you're doing, is you're challenging stereotypes and criticizing the transgender movement. You are challenging it and you are criticizing it. So you're actually doing what they want you to do. So it doesn't even make any sense.
Right. But I'm not pointing it at who they want me to point it at.
Yes.
And guess what, idiot? stereotypes exist because they're true. Okay? If Asian people were great drivers, it wouldn't be a thing. If women were great drivers, it wouldn't be a thing. If men had no problem with asking for directions, that wouldn't be a thing. If Black people didn't get into fights at airports, it wouldn't be a thing. Like, we're not pulling these things out of nowhere. If Black people didn't disrupt the movies, it wouldn't be a thing. You'd say it and be like, what? Huh? That doesn't happen often enough for it to be a part of the collective conscious. I'm just going to list all the stereotypes. They should instead, comedy is about making people laugh, not furthering discrimination. What a fucking retard this person is.
Well, I feel like, okay, comedy is about people making people laugh. And that's the whole point, is you're not furthering the discrimination because you are talking about it and you're pointing it out. And when you can laugh about it, it's like, for me, like, that's why I started stand-up. So I could talk about my disability and I could point it out and I could talk about it. So when I got off stage, it wasn't like people were thinking about that anymore. They could see me and they could respect me. So it's like, it's insane for this person who's never gone on stage, never tried to do stand-up. It's like, okay, why don't you do your type of stand-up that you think is so much better than this offensive comedy? Why don't you go on stage and do your lighthearted jokes and see how the fuck that works?
Let's see you do an hour of cat jokes and see how well that does.
Yeah.
And it's particularly important for you, Lila, because I'm sure you experience, like, I don't know if you have some sets where you don't bring up your disability at all, but you probably feel like if it's a crowd of people who already know you, like our shows we were doing together, maybe you feel less like it has to be the first. But I'm sure if it's a brand new, like that big show you did during the pandemic at that big theater.
Yeah.
I'm sure you felt like you had to right away.
I have to, Chrissy, because you have to understand, when I come on stage and it's a group of people who've never seen me before, I am not what the average person looks like. And if I don't address it, the people aren't even thinking about my jokes. They're like, what the fuck is going on here? Why does she look like that? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like even at my show with Alex Stein, I feel like I should have went a little bit harder on my disability and like address that a little bit more, because I thought I could just like go into some stuff. And then when I didn't get into my disability stuff till like 7 minutes in, and then they're like, oh, okay, we understand what's going on here. I thought I went up there and I started talking about squirrels. I'm like, we don't want to know about fucking squirrels. We want to know why you walk like that. You know,
right.
Like, and
that's the thing too. Like, I feel like I don't go into my regular jokes when I'm in a new city or it's a new show or you're excited, because you feel like I have to make comments about what's going on in the room or the people that are there. Like, you want to make these fresh observations that are not in your normal set, because you just want to like say them first and then you get into your material. So you might have been in that headspace of like, oh, I have these new observations I just want to get out.
But it's like even now I'm starting to realize, like, I've lived with my disability for so long, my whole life, that like I don't even think about it. But I have to, like, my husband will explain to me, he's like, no, like when people see you for the first time, they can't even pay attention to what you're saying, because they're like thinking about, why does she look like this? Why is she so small? What's going on here? And he's like, you're actually doing yourself a disservice by not going into it and going into it even more, like I feel like, remember me and you were talking and it's like, you didn't even know that I've had so many surgeries. It's like, oh, maybe that's something I should explore a little bit more and kind of let people understand about.
And there's something really funny that can be linked in with like the trans conversation, because they have a lot of surgeries, and like you can definitely, like, that's when someone learns you've had so many surgeries, it makes it go, oh shit, she's been through a lot, because you're so tough and you don't have a victim mentality. But when you bring that up, like, oh yeah, big deal, I've had 17 surgeries or something, it's this great play on making light of a serious thing. You're taking
look at us, we're making lighthearted jokes.
Lighthearted jokes. And like Eric is right, because if someone doesn't know you at all, like I think our fans, like they know you, they know your face, but they see you in person for the first time. They don't realize that you're like shorter.
When we were at the FNT meetup too, I had a lot of people come up to me and they're like, oh my God, I didn't even realize how tiny you were, And so it's like, because here in the little box, you would think I'm 5'7".
Yeah. You seem very tall online.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And I even had after shows, people come up to me after the show and they're like, "Oh my God, you look bigger on stage." And I'm like, "Well, I'm glad." Like, they're supposed to. But it's, so I just think I wouldn't want to be limited on what jokes I could and couldn't do. But I will say this, I have like if there's somebody in a wheelchair, like in the audience, sometimes I'll think like, oh, how can I maybe like incorporate them to like make them really feel included, or like not, because I have a bit where I talk about like, thank God I can walk. But then sometimes if there's somebody in a wheelchair, I'm like, I'll even guess myself, like, do I want to say that? Because I do care about what people, I want to make the audience feel good. So like I had one of my girlfriends came to my show once and she was in a wheelchair and I pointed her out and I was like, she's the most VIP person in here. She came with her own seat.
I know what you mean, because it's not like, I'm sure there's people who have never met me. They think I'm like this cold-hearted transphobic bitch. And like, I even, I do watch what I say. Like and I don't mean that like I censor myself. I look at the audience and you try to tailor it for who's there. Like if I see a freaking, and I hate when this happens, like there's like a 16-year-old kid or 15-year-old kid, you're like, wow, okay, I guess we're turning you into a man today. Like I don't know. Like I go, am I gonna tell my waxing bit? Am I gonna not say certain words? Like, but then again, if your parents have brought you to a comedy show, then you're probably, I do quickly like reassess what I'm about to say, because I'm like, I don't want to traumatize this kid or like send the parents home when they have to have a tough conversation or something. Like, but then I'm like, what is the most scandalous thing I talk about in my set? I don't know. I curse a little bit. I make, I don't know. It's weird. Maybe I'm at the point where I wouldn't change anything at all. It's because it's been a while since I've had like a teenager in the crowd, but you don't like to see it. But and same thing. Like if I do jokes about like interracial dating, I'll like find a couple and I'll really try to, like make it specific to who is in that crowd. Not to piss anybody off, but to make them kind of feel special.
Yeah. And I think that's like the more we do stand-up and as we get deeper into our careers, it's like you get more experience. And that's like, I saw Andrew Dice Clay perform last week at the Comedy House of Plano. And I was sitting right up in front and there was a couple next to us. And the first 15 minutes of his set was just all about this couple. And just like kept going on and on about them.
Oh, that's great.
It was really cool to watch, but it's also like he's had so many years of experience that he can really like riff with the crowd. And I've been very like attracted to that lately, just kind of like watching how a comedian, like I said, you're so good at that, like goes in and out of their sets and connects. And I feel like I'm just getting to that point in my career where it's like I'm evolving and kind of like learning how to do that. But if we are constantly being told what we can't say, what we can't do, what we can't try, it's like you're not going to know until you're up there on the stage. So it's really funny to me that these people who criticize comedy would never have the balls to go on stage with a microphone in front of an audience. And it's not the same as YouTube. It's not the same as writing an article. It's not the same as sharing a funny tweet. It's so different unless you've done it. Like I can't totally respect what you have to say about it unless you've actually been on stage and done it yourself.
Exactly. And if you're going to compare it to music, I would say like the crowd interactions or a riff, like the Dylan thing was a riff for me. Like you could compare that to like a solo or like an improvisation. Like there's your songs, there's your set list, the songs you're going to play that are on your album or whatever, and then there's like, oh, you do a cover or you do a riff or you like kind of take a left turn into like something kind of random that the crowd doesn't expect, and that's kind of similar in comedy. Musicians don't have to deal with this shit. It's like
No, I feel like with stand-up, it's the most difficult form of public speaking because it's one thing to go to like an event, right? And there's a speaker that's going to give a talk and they just happen to be funny. Oh, they get bonus points.
Oh, yeah.
Stand-up, it's these people have paid money to see you be funny, and it's every 30 seconds to a minute, big laugh. And it's like, just because you're funny in the beginning, it all has to tie in together. And it's like, it's such a fulfilling art form too, because you never know what's going to happen. And when you get that laugh, God, doesn't it just feel so good?
It's like surfing. It's like the setup is like you're paddling, and then you can like ride the wave a little bit when there's a laugh, but it's like you got to do it again and like for however long your set is. Oh my God, I'm so behind on these supers. Okay. Pilgrim Media, Chrissy, does the pearl clutching get old from the SJWs? I mean, not really, because they really just exist on Twitter, and they were at that Dallas show, but they really are not often in my audiences. So that was kind of an anomaly. 200 Watt Studio, these people have never heard of Don Rickles. No, of course not. Oh my God. A lot of people have been bringing his name up the last few weeks because they get it. Cecil, what's up, Cecil? A pregnant white woman in New York tried to challenge stereotypes by stealing a bike from 5 black teenagers. Everyone got mad at her. You just can't win. Nope. Oh, but then when what's his face, the Dilbert guy says, "Oh, you just got to avoid them." Oh, you can't say that either.
Wow.
Who's the Dilbert guy? I forget his name. Shannon Smith, best crowd work is Al Murray, Countries of the World. I suggest everybody look it up later. Al Murray. All right. I'll write it down. I'll write it on the back of this envelope where my taxes came back in. Okay. I'm probably going to forget about it and then throw that away later. Okay. Sorry. Oh, God. I don't think it's allergies. Matthew Hammond, I am sad I missed Ollie London. I wanted to know if he became a better driver when he detransitioned. Haha. He was like this close to chopping off his dick. It was a very interesting conversation. He was going to get his cock removed in Bangkok, which the irony was not lost on me. But I didn't want to like make a joke about it because I was like, I didn't want to. He was new. It was the first time I talked to him. I didn't know if like I could joke about his dick removal process. Yeah. Johnny mumbles, can you imagine how miserable that convo was? Make sure you don't laugh at this, and you can laugh at their idea of comedy, 4 or 5 minutes of Trump jokes. Yeah, exactly. These people are not out in the world going to clubs. They have no clue of what the majority of this country finds funny. Johnny mumbles, comedy has no rules. How about if it makes you laugh, you laugh. You don't sit in the penalty box for laughing at the wrong thing. Exactly. We want you to laugh at whatever you like. We never expect everybody in the audience to laugh at the same things. K-Max. What's up, K-Max? I love leftist language on Twitter, Chrissy. Normalizing behavior by making jokes. So how can you joke about anything? Making jokes to them is normalizing bad behavior. Yeah, if I was trying to normalize something, I would, I don't know, run for office, try to write policy. I guess I would be in politics, or I would, I don't know, be a teacher who tries to come out to my kids. And I guess I would be a school librarian, and I would be buying a bunch of trans and queer books for my students. That would be if I wanted to normalize something. Matthew Hammond, I hope someone at Compound got your wedding present. It was left at the door. You might like it. Frank will love it if you follow the directions. Oh, well, my show was not, it was Labor Day, right? No, it was Memorial Day. So I wasn't there this Monday, but I'll be back there next Monday. Thank you, Matthew Hammond. Spectral Citizen, love watching you two ladies together. Thank you, Spectral. You're the best. West Britannicus, Lila cackling in the background was easily the best part of Chrissy Tranny Gate. Oh, that's the biggest compliment, is when I make other comedians laugh. It's the best. There's a comedian laughing is worth like 15 regular people laughing to me.
That's so true. That's
all of you guys have heard my shit, and I will laugh at jokes that I've heard a bunch of times, but they're still funny.
Yeah. It's great. And it's also like, sometimes I laugh too when it's, because you hear other people laughing and you know it's like their first time hearing it, and it's like reminds you. It's really fun.
Yeah. I know. It makes me want to do more. Like the more shows I do with you, Lila, the more shows I want to do with you. Like it's that same thing. It's always like the fourth show out of the 4 or the last show of the weekend. Like we're the most warmed up. We're the most like.
Oh God, yeah. That last show that you got heckled at. Because here's what's crazy. They all stayed up until that point. They watched my set, they watched Alex's set, they watched Keanu's set, and they got upset like right at the very end. But honestly, it was gold. It was perfect. But I felt so good about my set. I felt like so warmed up. And I love working with you and Keanu. We just had like the best time. It was fun being like the lady comment.
And it's fun. We had pool time. It was a good balance between like, because it's very hard for me to have fun and relax when I'm like on the road. Because I go, this is a work trip. I need to be focused. I can't fuck up this show. But we had some really good like pool time and hanging time. And it did almost feel like a little bit like a vacation.
Yeah, it was fun.
But also a work trip. Yeah. It's just so crazy.
I feel like I like get better every time I work with you too, because I feel like I learn a lot and like I can watch you. And like I said, you're so good at the crowd work. Like you would be so proud of me, Chrissy. Like I've been hosting shows.
I wish I could have seen that Austin show.
And then also like when I bring people up, like I'll like make a little conversation with the crowd, and then I'll like try to make a joke, and then I'll bring the comic up. So
people love that. It's like that's why you're at a live event instead of home diddling yourself. It's like it makes them feel special. It doesn't have to be the most slam dunk hilarious joke. I think if you're just like commenting on somebody or just it's nice. People like to feel noticed.
Yeah, I think I brought up this comedian or the comedian off stage. He was wearing a jeans jacket with like no sleeves, like he'd ripped the sleeves off. And I was like, oh, he has a lot of confidence. He ripped the sleeves off his jacket and the crowd freaking loved it.
Yeah. So it's fun to just talk about what people are wearing and that's what it is. It's like you're literally looking at somebody in the crowd and making a stereotype. Like in that one show, there was an Indian guy, and I was like, I don't want a stereotype, but do you work in IT? And he was like, yes. And it was the best. It was funny for everyone. It's funny for him because he's like, ha ha, I guess you got me. And it's funny for the crowd because like, oh, look at this fucking Indian guy.
Well, I think also too, it really shows people that like you're present and you're in the moment and you're making observations in the moment. And that's like, it really takes people to be present. And I think that's why it works out so well. It's like you're going to comedy to kind of like not think about the stress of your work week, not think about the stress of tomorrow. It's like to be in the now and to like really like laugh and release, and it's healing.
What's been inspiring me recently is there's this song about like boycotting Target that Forgiato Blow just put out. It's like top of the charts right now. And like they're so good. Like these couple of MAGA rappers, they're so good at putting out like a topical song, and it'll trend, like it'll do well. But I'm so inspired with the speed at which they're able to put out a song that's topical. And I'm like, I want to do that, but with my jokes. Like, I mean, I'm not performing at a club every weekend, but like, I want to get to a point where like, and maybe like these appearances on, podcasts or like Newsmax or whatever. Like, I want to get to a point where like I can do that with comedy, and just like, wow, this is some. I feel like I should have like 10 Target jokes by now, but yeah, it's inspiring. It's cool when like other different art forms can inspire your comedy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Pilgrim Media. Well, Cecil do stand up at kids' birthday parties. We've been trying to get Cecil to do stand up, I feel like, for months now.
Yeah, Cecil.
Cecil just needs to be pulled onto stage because he would be funny.
Yeah, well, you have to just pull an Alex Stein and Owen Schroyer him upstage.
Yeah, that's what we need to do because Cecil has it in him. Cecil is like similar to, he's great on podcasts. He's very seasoned. He's very quick. He makes funny observations. So the only thing he doesn't care about making a fool of himself. I mean, that's his life. So all he needs is just to get on stage and like let it rip.
Yeah.
So we're gonna work on that. Yeah. But Lila, you're gonna come to Houston, right?
Yes, I'm gonna be there.
Okay,
I'll be
good.
there for the podcast. I mean, the panel, and for the show. And then on the 12th, I'm gonna be in Austin for an event with Matt Baker.
Oh yes, I saw that.
Yeah, it's I have it up here. It's called the American Liberty Awards. It's like an award show. You should come, Chrissy.
That is August 12th.
Yeah, August 12th in Austin. Here it is.
That's Saturday.
Yeah.
Doing full screen.
There it is.
Wow, look at that. You're on the VIP list there. Forgiato Blow will be there. Wow, Sam Tripoli. I love Sam Tripoli. I love all these people. Maybe we'll have to get a car and just drive out there. How far is it from Houston?
I think it's like 2 hours.
That's nothing.
Yeah, so we should just go.
We should just go.
Mhm.
I wonder if they
Come
would.
with.
I don't know if they would have me, but I would definitely go to support.
Yeah, come. And everyone's gonna be there, so it's gonna be like a fun.
Everyone's gonna be there. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
thing.
so just come. Come with me.
We could go to Buc-ee's.
Yeah, we'll go to Buc-ee's. We'll make a road trip. So yeah, that's because we just have the show on the 11th, and we'll just go. We could go early in the morning the next day.
Right, unless God, I wonder if any of the convention stuff will be happening. No, because it's at nighttime, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I want to make that happen.
Yes, you have to. Come.
Wow, one more from K-Max. Chrissy, have you had any sponsors before? What would be a quality product Chrissy or Lila would be proud to endorse? You know, if there are any patriotic vibrators, I would happily welcome that. I'm just looking into this Public Square website, which I guess hosts a lot of, like based vendors. Let's go see if there's anything on there that I would buy. Yeah, I had a bunch of podcast sponsors last year. I think I just haven't like pursued any this year. I think I've been like just not not trying to have sponsors. Not because they wouldn't have me, but I just wasn't following up.
You should have some carnivore crisps.
Oh, I love it. I actually have a like a monthly delivery set up with them.
Ooh.
They're so good. And I have the carnivore dog treats that I give to
Aw.
Muffin and Waffles.
That's so sweet.
I call them cookies. I said, "Do you want a cookie?" And now they know what that means. They're like,
Aw.
I love them. I want to try one because they say it's human grade meat.
Oh, wow. You should try one, maybe.
I will. I ate a milk bone when I was a kid. We had dogs that lived next door, and we would keep milk bones for them. And I ate one day.
Was it good?
I don't remember how it tasted.
I remember one time when I was like 10, I was drinking a smoothie, and we like took a bunch of ants that were crawling on the ground and put them in the smoothie. And then, like, they were alive.
Oh,
And we like slurped them up.
Oh.
I must have eaten like 15 ants.
Wow, you're like the OG Klaus Schwab. You were eating bugs before it was cool.
It was really a strange thing.
K-Max, wasn't there a drink you always had on stream? Me?
I had a big water bottle.
I have a water bottle like that. Where is it? It's gone. But it's similar. It's pink and
I had a
blue.
bunch of mint leaves in here from my garden.
Oh,
And
wow.
lemon. See, that's all the stuff that's like floating in it. Look at all the leaves.
I would love a spiked seltzer
Mm.
sponsor. That would be cool. Maybe Hard AF could sponsor the pod.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I would love to, and hopefully you can go with me if I can get this going, but I would love to go to Arizona.
Yes.
I would love to do something in Tennessee. Montana would be cool. Montana's like super based. Like,
And we could ride a horse.
all right. That's
Go
it.
to a ranch.
These are my goals. All right, everybody. This was fun. This is just me and Lila catching up, and we just happen to have a chat going.
Yeah.
Lila, what's coming up? Oh, when is your new documentary coming out?
July 4th, 2023, which is exactly a year after American History of Voter Fraud.
Whoa.
Look at my hats.
That's a big deal that you could bang out one documentary a year.
We had the documentaries that came out were American History of Voter Fraud, World Death Organization. Then we had 2 hours of Dick Gregory and a documentary short, which was about Joan Rivers up the rivers. But this will be the
2 hours of Dick, you say?
2 hours of Dick, yes.
I can handle it.
But the film is The Trial of Anthony Fauci, which will come out July 4th. I'm really excited about it. Eric's been working very, very hard. I'm about to record my lines. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I will be recording my lines.
That's very exciting. I was told that we are doing a raid, that we will be raiding Anna That Star Wars Girl stream. Let me see if I can put the link in the chat here. Yes, I can. This is where we'll be going. We'll be going to Anna's stream.
Yay.
There it is. I hope that worked. Aw, don't go, says TGTK. Aw. Well, we're still going. Lila, you're the absolute best. It was fun. It was very satisfying to break down that article with you. I clearly have a lot of passionate feelings about this 19-year-old twat.
Hey, but you know what? This is all of this is great. Like the fact that they're even talking about it, looking at it. There'll be some people with an open mind who maybe will come up and look you up. And like, if anybody's smart that does, they'll love your stand up. They'll love what you do. So whatever, that's fine.
And also, like, I would love for these people to like come to a show and like, see if something that I say makes you laugh, and if not, I don't know, or like have a conversation. I think that's more productive than just being like, meh,
I don't like you.
I don't like my dad, but I'm taking it out on you. Anyway, let's go to Anna's stream. Let's snipe it up. Is it called sniping? No, it's just a stream ambush. I don't know. I don't know what the kids are calling it. All right. See you next time.